The Carolina Panthers are falling apart. Bryce Young is already benched 2 games into his second season in the NFL after looking totally incompetent, might I add. Andy Dalton is now the starter going forward for the foreseeable future. I wonder if that changes at any point. But Dave Canales has not helped Bryce Young. He has turned out to not be the quarterback whisperer that we all thought he was coming in. Maybe the teams that he was on just had a lot of offensive talent, and the quarterbacks were just better than we expected, and we're set for a breakout. Yeah, or Bryce just is the worst ever.
I was about to say, or Bryce Young is just
that's where I was going with that.
So, what do you guys think? Where are we at with the Panthers? Is there a bright spot in their future at any point?
No, there's no bright spots moving forward for the Carolina Panthers. I mean, they might have to sell the team and relocate because this is bad. Given what they gave up for Bryce Young, to be giving up on him 2 games into his second season is absurd. And we see Tom Brady's been preaching it since the day he retired. These rookie quarterbacks should not be playing. The dude was clearly not ready to be out there on an NFL field. And also, not as much this year, but last year, it was one of the worst situations, or the worst situation in the NFL. So that wasn't doing him any favors. And now it's done. And given what they gave up for him, it can't be done. Because the franchise is cooked for the next 10 years if this guy doesn't work out. That's what it always was. We've been saying it since the trade went down with the Bears. Once they gave up that much for Bryce Young, it became Bryce Young has to be a franchise-level quarterback, or this franchise is set back for the next 10 seasons. And moving that guy to the bench 2 weeks into his second season when you just went on a press conference the day before Dave Canales and said, that's our quarterback, it's done. We see it time and time again. These quarterbacks' confidence, we just talked about it with Derek Carr. Confidence is the most important thing for them. And there's just, they say, oh, he's going to learn from Andy Dalton and then maybe be ready to go next year. Here's how it's going to go. His confidence is obviously shot right now. He just got moved to the bench. Maybe he could pick up a thing or two from Andy Dalton starting, sure. But all offseason, his confidence is shot now from being moved to the bench for Andy Dalton. All offseason, it's going to be, what should the Panthers do? Draft a quarterback or ride with Bryce Young?
They're going to have the number 1 overall pick.
And to be quite frank with you, with the number 1 overall pick, they're going to draft a quarterback.
Right.
So Bryce Young in Carolina is going to fail. And now what they're going to do is bring in another quarterback who, guess what? He's going to fucking fail too. He who doesn't even have a name yet is going to fail too. Because this ownership, we talked about it all last season too with Bryce Young, with his struggles, how we felt so bad for him. This ownership group, they just don't know what they're doing. They've been terrible. David Tepper, since he took over, it has been wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision. You trade away Christian McCaffrey, you trade away DJ Moore, you trade away Brian Burns, you trade away the number 1 overall pick. You trade for the number 1 overall pick, my bad, and give away all that stuff. It's just been wrong decision after wrong decision, and the franchise is fucked. And in terms of Bryce Young, I mean, I feel for the guy, but shit, he sucks. Yeah. It just is what it is. I'm sure he's a nice guy, and I'm sure this sucks for him, mentally and shit like that. I hope all is well because guys could get in a deep, deep place after stuff like this. So for real, I hope everything's well with him, but you just got to call it what it is. I mean, he's been by far the worst starting quarterback in the NFL through 2 weeks, and it's not even close.
No. And it's especially tough when your running mate is now lauded as the best quarterback or one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league.
Right.
The number 2 pick right after you is now one of the best in the NFL.
Right.
I mean,
just to compound the situation. So
yeah, I mean, just some stats. I didn't write down a novel for Bryce, but in PFF passing grade, EPA per play, success rate, by far the worst. In this past game, he didn't attempt a single pass over 15 yards down the field. Yep. He only attempted 2 passes of 10-plus air yards. He didn't complete a single one of them. The man didn't, in a full NFL game, the man did not complete 1 pass more than 10 yards. He didn't complete 1 pass for a first down. I'm sure he got a first down, but a first down distance.
They probably didn't.
They might not have.
They probably didn't.
They've converted 9% of their third down so far this season. Actually, that's another stat I have. And we talked about all offseason. They got him some help, and they paid for an O-line, and they're doing their best job. I mean, they're the 5th best PFF pass blocking unit. So they're doing their part. Bryce Young just
It hasn't felt that way though.
I was gonna say you also don't
Because
have to
it's-
rush the quarterback if he can't throw the ball. Like you
Yeah.
just cover
it's
the field.
self-inflicted though. It's not them. It's Bryce Young.
No, it's definitely not. Yeah.
It's
he's
just making.
he's not reading the field. He's evading the pocket way too quick. He's trying to play make. Clearly, we're seeing he just doesn't have the athletic tools to be able to play make like that. The arm looks weak. The accuracy is not what we thought it was, and
That's the-
mentally, he's just not like it's all bad. Like
Yeah,
everything.
No Bryce,
Dissecting
no
like
Silva.
attributes in a quarterback, like everything you want your quarterback to have, he's not doing.
Yeah.
He's not doing any aspect of quarterbacking good. Like not a single nothing. At least like you could look at Daniel Jones and say, man, hey, sometimes on a third down, that guy could scramble and get us the first down.
Yeah, and he's got
Like-
a strong arm for an NFL quarterback.
Sure.
So he does. I mean,
I'm
objectively.
not gonna talk about Daniel Jones.
Yeah, no, but like
He had
it's
the
just
physical tools, but
it's
yeah.
just all bad for Bryce. He does not like forget about being a bust of a number 1 overall pick. Like the guy does not even look like an NFL. Like he doesn't look like a backup. Like he doesn't
No.
even look as good as fucking Zach Wilson, bro. Like he
You said it in the chat. Is he better than Zach? Who
No, it
posed
wasn't
that
me.
question?
I don't
Who
know.
posed the question?
maybe.
I
No,
saw,
he
is
said
he better
something
than
like,
Zach
yeah,
Wilson?
when he said the segment title, he said Bryce Young's not better than Zach Wilson.
You're right.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's not.
You're unfortunately right. He's
I
not
mean,
even close.
In my years of watching football, I'd probably Nathan Peterman.
Yeah.
EJ Manuel really turned me off. I thought he was
Yeah.
one of the worst I've ever seen.
Nathan
but
Peterman was the guy that could have spiked it into the ground on every snap
Yeah.
ever and had a better QBR,
At one point,
right?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
who we're talking about.
Those-
That's who we're
yeah,
comparing. number
those
one
two
overall
guys
pick.
come to mind. But other than that, like this is the worst. Not even this year. Not even late. Like this is the worst quarterback play I've seen in my however many years
Yeah.
of watching football.
Like, Trey Lance was at least athletic.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he at least had something that says like, all right, like this guy's dog shit, but maybe there could potentially be
he
something.
can do
here down
something
the
at an
line.
NFL level.
Bryce
like-
Young's
Yeah.
not doing anything at an NFL
No.
level, and I saw it was funny. We were in the party, the PlayStation party yesterday, talking about this shit. Me and Dean, and I said,
Shout out Wagner.
Mila Kunis, who was in that '70s show, but I meant Mina Kimes, who
Oh.
works for ESPN. He was like, "What?" Dean was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But Mina Kimes, who works for ESPN, was saying, I saw a tweet. It was like, "Shout out to her for owning her mistake," but she was like, in pre-draft process, a lot of us, just overlooked how fucking small this dude is, and
Yeah.
like she said, like I'm one of those people, and I'll admit it too. Like I'm one of those people too.
Also, yeah.
Because it looked like he could just make it work at the college level and it would translate over. But I mean, like out of everything, like he's not making decisions, like he's not being a good NFL quarterback. That might be the biggest thing that's leading. Like he can't fucking see over the offensive line. And like you look at those smaller quarterbacks, like a Russ, like a Kyler Murray. One, those guys are pretty stocky, and two,
Yes.
those guys were just athletic enough to make plays at the NFL level. Bryce Young, like we knew he wasn't gonna be the best sit in the pocket passer because of his size. Like it's going to be hard to throw over the middle. We've been talking about that with Russ for years, throwing over the middle of the field. We knew that wasn't going to be there, but it was supposed to be the playmaking ability and the ability to kind of be a one-man offense and make something out of nothing. And he's made nothing out of nothing. Like it's just been all bad. So
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit everything, but yeah.
I want the Dolphins to trade for him though. I've been seeing
I mean,
that.
he's still,
Mm.
he's still young. He'll still have somebody will take a shot on him because of who he was supposed to be. But
Bro, I don't know. Yeah, Nick's shaking his head over there, and I feel the same way. I don't know, bro. I don't
mean,
think
nobody wants-
another team takes a like
I
he'll
don't
become
know.
a backup somewhere. But
yeah, he'll have his chance. I mean,
I don't think he ever gets another chance to
Well,
start.
there might be a team who might like need him to the Dolphins. Like our quarterback might die.
Not
like,
anytime
no,
soon,
he's not saying the
like-
Giants. We're not.
Like-
No, the Giants would
No.
not make a move on him. No.
no, not
like,
anytime
like
soon
the
either,
Dolphins,
but-
For multiple reasons.
like if Tua is not the long-term answer and we don't draft a quarterback this year, like I wouldn't mind just taking a shot and seeing what's there and then losing every game and
I don't know,
draft.
somebody traded for Zach
drafting-
Wilson, and obviously we just said Bryce Young's like the worst quarterback ever. But
Zach had physical tools.
right.
You're looking at Bryce, and you're like, what do I have to work with? There is like I hate to put it like that, but when you're
No, he
trading
hasn't
for a-
shown anything.
No,
at
no,
the
when you're
NFL level.
trading for one of these guys, like Zach Wilson showed that he has a cannon of an arm and he's pretty damn athletic. Like it's like, okay, maybe we could work something out with that. You're looking at Bryce, and it's like, he's underwhelming athletically. He has an underwhelming arm. He cannot throw an accurate football for the life of him. He can't process and read a defense and make quick decisions. What is there?
Someone will take a shot on him as a backup.
Yeah,
He was the
yeah.
number. There was
a backup.
There was enough there for him as the number one pick that someone will see something in him to be a backup. And like I said, if backup quarterbacks sometimes have to play games. Like, that's just the NFL.
No, I
so
know.
Like, he might have to play by necessity.
I thought
no one's taking a shot on him to be their starter. No.
No, like I meant he'll get another chance in the NFL.
Yes.
Like,
yes, I agree.
But it's all like you said, it's all bad. There's no physical traits, and he's going to be a guy that everyone's going to look back on and say, how the hell did that guy go number 1 overall? But
I mean, it's pretty over.
Especially with the guy behind him.
Right, yeah. And
drafting him over C.J. Stroud in Dynasty.
Yeah, it's a rough one, man. It really is. Like,
at least you didn't.
On the bright side, everyone drafted everyone over C.J. Stroud.
Right,
yeah. I mean, it's rough. We thought that Bryce had the athletic tools. That was the problem. Like, we thought he had the athletic tools to also
I knew
be
he
a
wasn't
quality runner.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't an elite athlete, but I thought he was.
He could make.
There was something there with the twitchiness, but like. And like that, I think that's something that still is there. It's just, I don't know, man. He doesn't have the arm strength. That's a big problem, bro. I mean, you look at Tua at least gets the ball out quick in the intermediate game and stuff like that. Like
Tua led the league in passing.
Yeah, Tua plays to his strengths. Like
exactly.
Bryce Young, he's not right. There's no strengths to play to, so it's just
Tua and Brock Purdy might have two of the weakest arms of any starting quarterback, and that's not a slight on them. They're still great quarterbacks. The difference between them and what Bryce Young is currently is the fact that they process like this and make a read.
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of what they do. They're super accurate and they process so quickly. If you're not doing that, what the hell are you good for? Like,
I mean, we even saw with Caleb on Sunday night. Like, when you're getting out there and trying to make a play at the NFL level, like, when you're throwing on the run and shit like that and taking those shots, like, you got to put some mustard on that bitch. Like you got to really put it out there. We saw Caleb.
He has a sick arm.
Yeah, but we saw Caleb underthrowing dudes when he got out of structure, and that's just
he started the game so well.
Well, yeah, that's
so well. But
that's a whole other conversation. Yeah, I don't want to. I've different thoughts on that. Hopefully, maybe they lose again, and we could have a topic about Caleb. But
like Bryce is obviously, like we said, he's one of the worst we've ever seen. But it really is like some guys just are not ready to start right away. He's had what 3 coaches in his 13 games he's played as a starter or whatever it is. So, like he was not set up to succeed. Like that needs to be said. But also no matter who your coordinator is, if you can't hit a 10-yard pass, like that's on you.
I'm curious if the ownership and coaching staff and front office group are thinking this could be good for him, or they're thinking it's over because
no, I think it's over.
I know we're all thinking it's over, but I wonder if they're up there really thinking maybe we give him not even the full year off, maybe just a few games to kind of just get his head right,
and
then they throw him right back out there.
So I'm thinking 2 things right now. I know that a report came out that Tepper has nothing to do with the decision. I think he has some semblance of to do with this decision. They can't sell tickets right now. Their season is down the drain. And I also think that he's getting benched because it is over. And I say that because this is not the regime that made that trade. They have zero attachment now to Bryce Young. What do we always talk about? The best NFL organizations are the ones that move off mistakes quick. And I'm not saying that this is a good organization, but if they realize we didn't trade for him, he sucks, we might as well cut our losses, start new this offseason, and let the vet Andy Dalton go as we try to develop the rest of this team. Because at the very minimum, we know what Andy Dalton brings to the table. He has at points been a quality quarterback in the NFL. Even dating back to, last season, maybe the year prior, he had quality starts in the NFL.
Last year he had 360 passing yards in a game and 2 touchdowns.
And that was a really good point that they have to
cut their losses.
Not even that, yes, but that they need to focus on the development of everyone else as well. Because yes, the quarterback's the most important position, and that's the one you have to hit on. But at the end of the day, you still have to fill out a 53-man roster with good NFL players. And I mean, we've seen it with the Giants. I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but Daniel Jones' assness, I feel like, has kind of stunted the growth of everyone else over the past few years. So we've seen it with them. So yeah, I think that's a really good point, because this is a team that, at the end of the day, on paper, still has some good young pieces that could potentially be building blocks. And
wouldn't be surprised if they fuck around and win a game now.
Yeah, and I mean, like you mentioned, with a new group and stuff like that, you get a chance to not only cut your losses, but like you said, you made sure to emphasize that this isn't a good organization. But with this front office group, this is a chance to move in that direction. We saw it with the Knicks. Yeah. You know, it took time, and there were some moves that were questioned in the beginning, but at least there was a direction. They picked a direction, they went that direction, and they made good, smart business decisions. Obviously, they got lucky. Like, the Knicks got lucky. Jalen Brunson being who he is, like, as much as you want to say that's just good scouting and knowing ball, like, they got lucky that Jalen Brunson. And sometimes you got to get lucky.
I don't think we had any. Yeah, I don't think
you got to get lucky.
Good.
Yeah, you got to get lucky.
They expected him to be a slightly above average point guard and stabilize.
At the end of the day, that's kind of life. That, you know, you give and take, karma, all that stuff. If you make good decisions, you'll get lucky.
Yeah,
we see with the Chiefs.
Yep.
You make good decisions, you'll get lucky. Like, it'll come back for you. Yeah. So, you know, it's an interesting situation to monitor. I don't think anyone's going to be watching the games, but we're all going to be box score watching and seeing what happens. And we're going to be paying very close attention to who they draft and how things shake out for them the next few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if I cut you off. I'm sorry about that. Just to close my thoughts on this, as I said it before, you do need to develop the guys around you. Like, Xavier Legette is a first-round pick. How are you going to know what you have in Xavier Legette? How are you going to make Xavier Legette better if you can't even get him the goddamn ball? Or Jonathan Mingo, I'm not saying he's a good quality NFL receiver, but we have no idea what we have in him if we can't get him the ball. And it's just, from there, you need to figure it out. Who do you keep? Who deserves to be here with your future quarterback? And I just think that Andy's going to at least give you a shot to see that. So,
yeah. I was just going to end on this. Some people are out there saying, why not keep him in and just tank for the first pick? And it's like, well, first of all, you saw what they did last time they had the first pick. They did this. And second of all, yeah, that doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help Bryce. The best thing for Bryce now is to get benched and hopefully learn and have some internal growth and become a quality player somehow, some way. And yeah, just you have to. The guys around you are just going to lose complete confidence in you and they're not going to believe in you as a ownership or as coaches or anything if you're just going to go out there and purposely lose games. So you can't like, as much as we all say, oh, you guys should just tank, like real good NFL GMs and coaches are not going to do that.
And last thing, look at what happened with a guy that we may mention in a bit, Sam Darnold. Like, he ended up just not being able to be a starter for years now. And it turned out to be the best thing for his career. Granted, Sam Darnold has far better physical tools than Bryce Young does, but it turned out to be the best thing for his career. He landed in a good situation, learned from the right coaches, just sat. Did not see the field, just sat. Got the chance to completely reset his mind as an NFL quarterback after literally being destroyed by a horrendous organization. And now you get to see, at certain points, whether this continues or not with him, he can be a quality starting quarterback at points in the NFL. And hopefully, I pray, because Bryce is, from all accounts, a super cool dude. You still have Adam Thielen defending this man, too. Like, if your teammates are still going to bat, going out of their way to go to bat for you, it has to show some semblance of character for you. And I wish the best for Bryce. I hope it all works out in the long run.
Yeah.
So.